And we have low pressure to the southwest of us, and it's this that's driving various occluded fronts across the country, bringing rain at times and also leading to some strong blustery winds across eastern areas. Across the north, we also have some cold air, and so that's bringing increasing amounts of hill snow over modest high ground of both northern England and also Scotland. Watch out for the rain, particularly towards the southwest, as rainfall totals building up as we go through today and into tomorrow could lead to some further flooding in places as well. In the south, staying relatively mild tonight. Colder further north and always feeling colder where we have those brisk, strong winds coming in from the east. So a wet start to the day tomorrow for many. Across the southern parts there will be some breaks in the cloud, but also some heavy bursts to watch out for. Could be some rumbles of thunder as we go into the afternoon as well. Lots of cloud, lots of rain across much of central northern England, Wales and Northern Ireland. A bit of hill snow as well continuing at times. Meanwhile, across Scotland, a bit of a west-east split in the east, feeling cold with those brisk winds coming in. And there'll be some rain, some hill snow around, but a brighter start to the day across the west of Scotland. And actually here, it's going to stay largely dry and largely bright through much of the day, but most places sticking with the often cloudy and rather wet picture. Like I mentioned, some rumbles of thunder possible in the southwest, with the rain turning a bit showery here, less persistent, maybe even a bit of sunshine developing later on across parts of Cornwall and maybe Devon. Temperatures on paper tomorrow are going to be similar to today, but the winds ever so slightly lighter, and so feeling a little bit less raw across some parts towards the northeast in particular. More rain to come for many as we go through the end of the day, something a little bit drier towards the south-southwest at times maybe, but on the whole really as we go into this weekend, the cloudy and often wet theme looks set to continue. Bye-bye.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M4 westbound, expect slow traffic between Junction 24 at Coldra and Junction 26 at Malpass. On the A92 Tay Road Bridge, double-deck vehicles are banned and speeds are limited to 30 miles per hour because of strong winds. In Hampshire, the M27 eastbound at Junction 2 has a crash with 2 lanes blocked and delays of around 10 minutes. In Cambridgeshire, the A14 westbound between Junction 24B and Junction 23 has a collision closing 1 lane. And on the trains, cross-country is disrupted between Plymouth and Penzance, and Great Western Railway has disruption on some routes. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
We want you to set off on the destination of your dreams this year, as you could win an incredible holiday for 2 worth £10,000. Courtesy of Riviera Travel, you'll get to choose from 47 tours in over 30 worldwide destinations. We'll also give you £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure you really make a splash this summer.
For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB19 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 27th of February. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No, because you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dewbs & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello there, it's 6 o'clock. I'm Michelle Dewberry, and this is Dewbs & Co.
Come and speak to my whips, and let's talk seriously about a vote of no confidence to force the moment.
So you tell me then, should we have a vote of no confidence, yes or no? And what would that look like? Also, aside from Mandelson, very strange goings on in Hastings today. Keir Starmer trying his best to do business as usual with a speech about how we need to be more inclusive and grievance policies as well. I want to take a look at that. Also, there's been a surge in illegal working raids. Can you guess which industries are the worst offenders? And Alton Towers, the theme park, boldly going where our government does not have the balls to go. No longer will people with anxiety and ADHD be able to access their disability queue jump. And I've got to tell you, a report out today now providing the options for the refurbishment of the Houses of Parliament. You will not believe it, ladies and gents. You, the timeframes and the sums of money involved in that. Keeping me company to get stuck into all of that and more, the former editor of The Sun, Kelvin Mackenzie, and alongside him, the co-founder of Novara Media, Aaron Bastani. But first up, your 6 o'clock news headlines.
Michelle, thank you. The top stories. Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee has said it cannot commit to a timetable for reviewing documents relating to Peter Mandelson's vetting to become ambassador to the US. Meanwhile, Sir Keir Starmer has issued a public apology over the Peter Mandelson scandal, saying serious evidence has now emerged that he was misled. Speaking at an event in East Sussex, the Prime Minister said he entered politics out of service and duty and accused Mandelson of falling far short of that standard. He said while Mandelson's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein was known, no one knew the depth and the darkness of the relationship, and claims Mandelson repeatedly downplayed it during vetting. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage described the Prime Minister's apology as weak. The Prime Minister told victims of Epstein's abuse he was sorry.
The victims of Epstein have lived with trauma that most of us can barely comprehend, and they've had to relive it again and again. I am sorry. Sorry for what was done to you. Sorry that so many people with power failed you. Sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him.
Today, a heckler shouted an apparent reference to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal at the King and Queen during a high street walkabout. Police officers approached the man afterwards and walked him away from the barriers, with Essex Police later confirming that no arrests had been made.
The Epstein investigation. Thank you so much.
A cybersecurity student at De Montfort University who died after being stabbed in Leicester city centre has been named by police as Khalid Oladipo, 20 years old, from London. Leicestershire Police says the victim was involved in an altercation with another man in the street who fled before officers arrived, but they have arrested an 18-year-old on suspicion of murder. An Iranian asylum seeker who came to the UK illegally on the back of a lorry in July of 2024 has been sentenced to 7.5 years for sexually assaulting a teenage girl. 29-year-old Amar Reza Khalafi previously pleaded guilty to sexually assaulting the teenage girl at St Albans Crown Court in December last year. His Honour Justice man handed Khalafi a 4.5-year custodial sentence and further 3 years on licence. Khalafi was granted refugee status in the summer of 2024, claiming he would face persecution if he returned to Iran after converting to Christianity. His victim, 19-year-old Abby Johnson, who has waived her right to anonymity, told GB News she wants to save someone else from going through what she went through. Elsewhere, a man has been found guilty of murdering a 9-year-old girl as she played in the street. David Azgeba stabbed Lilia Valued outside the shop where her mother worked in Lincolnshire on the 28th of July of 2022. The 26-year-old admitted killing her but denied murder, claiming his responsibility was diminished by his mental state. However, a jury at Lincoln Crown Court convicted him following a trial. He'll be sentenced on the 25th of February. A ship's captain has been jailed for 6 years after a container vessel crashed into an oil tanker in the North Sea, killing a crewman. Vladimir Motin was on sole watch when his ship struck the Stena Immaculate near the Humber estuary, triggering a massive explosion. 38-year-old Mark Angelo Pernier died instantly in the fire. His body was never recovered. At the Old Bailey, jurors heard the tanker had been visible on radar for more than half an hour, but Motin failed to take evasive action. Prosecutors said his conduct amounted to gross negligence. They say he later lied about what happened. Finally, in sport, Leicester City have been docked 6 points after being found to have breached profit and sustainability rules for the 23-24 season. Leicester, who play in the Championship, were docked the points after being found to be in breach of the English Football League's financial rules. The punishment relates to Leicester City's promotion to the Premier League in 2024. The deduction puts Leicester, who are currently 17th with 38 points, just above the relegation zone. Those are the latest headlines. For now, it's over to Michelle.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Thank you for that, Tatiana. That poor little girl in the headlines there really does break my heart. And don't even get me started on that story there in St Albans. I see the doctors and the engineers are at it again. And I cannot help but wonder how many more teenage girls are we expected to have this happen to in this country before people literally step up and realise within government what is actually now going on. Honestly, absolutely beggars belief. And of course, my thoughts are with her as well. But look, I am Michelle Dewberry. This is Dewbs & Co, keeping you company until 7 o'clock tonight. Alongside me, I've got the former editor of The Sun, Kelvin Mackenzie, and the co-founder of Novara Media, Aaron Bastani. Good evening, gents. It's good to have you both again. Yeah. And you know the drill, don't you? It's not just about us three. Oh, no. It is about you at home as well. What is on your mind tonight, ladies and gents? Join the conversation in all the usual ways. You can get in touch with me on email, gbviews@gbnews.com. Go to the website, gbnews.com/yoursay. And you can tweet and you can X me. Everyone welcome on Dewbs & Co. I don't care what you're wearing. Did you see that school in Wales today that have now told the girls that they can't wear skirts, all for equality and inclusion reasons? Did you see that? Honestly, the state of this nation, I always say we live in a clown world, and I feel like it just gets worse every day. But look, speaking about things getting worse on a daily basis, Keir Starmer was in Hastings today trying to talk to us all about a variety of things, but of course there was only one subject that people wanted to hear. Peter Mandelson, take a listen.
Answers he gave were lies. He portrayed Epstein as someone he barely knew. And when that became clear, and it was not true, I sacked him. Such deceit is incompatible with public service. Let me be clear, no one is above accountability.
No one. He's been practising a serious voice there, hasn't he? I'll tell you, someone else speaking out today as well. Kemi Badenoch, take a listen to her.
It is now up to Labour MPs to do the right thing. I know there are many of them who are horrified by what has happened. We saw that in the House of Commons just yesterday. They might now expect the Prime Minister to take responsibility, but we know he won't. He will have to be dragged out of number 10. So, I am making them an offer. If they want the change they know the country needs, come and speak to my whips, and let's talk seriously about a vote of no confidence to force the moment.
Oh, it's all going on, isn't it? Kelvin Mackenzie, your thoughts?
Well, one way or another, Starmer's done for. It won't happen to the speed that Kemi Badenoch would like it. But it will happen because, honestly, only less than 3 weeks' time, we've got the Gorton and Denton by-election, which will be a complete disaster for Labour and probably hurries home the Greens into quite a big win, I should think, even over reform. And then, even if he survives that, he's got May the 6th and May the 7th, in which virtually no votes in Scotland, chucked out of power after 70, 80 years in Wales, and England doing much the same. So it's not about him, it's about his Labour MPs who are going to say to themselves, we need a leader because I want to be in work. Most MPs find it very difficult to find work because nobody wants a deceitful liar on their board or as their chief operating officer. So they're saying to themselves, how am I going to get elected next time? And I don't think I'll be elected under Starmer. Now, whether they think they're going to be elected better under Rayner or Streeting or unbelievably, I see that my Tuesday colleague Jacob Rees-Mogg thought that Ed Miliband would be probably the most likely next Prime Minister of this country. I have my doubts, but definitely I'm afraid Starmer has come to the end of the road. And it's no good blaming MI5, MI6. It's no good doing this. If he'd read The Telegraph 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, he would have known that most of this was going on, not in the depth, not all the sex, not all the shocking examples of a rich man preying on very young women. They wouldn't have known that, but they would know that Mandelson was up to no good. And why didn't they just simply read the papers?
Well, yeah, because, of course, he was saying as well he had no idea of the depth and the darkness of some of the stuff that was going on. Some of the stuff that was going on, by the way, I don't know how much of it you've all read. It makes your eyes water, it makes your hair curl, and it certainly makes you realise how boring many people's lives are in comparison. I can tell you that. Anyway, Aaron Bastani.
Well, I'm very happy to live a boring life by comparison. I'm sure you two are as well. On the point of who replaces him, I think Rayner's the most likely replacement. Do I think she'd win the next election? No. Would she do better than Starmer? I think almost certainly. And as Kelvin says, that's the calculus that every MP is now making. In terms of what Starmer said there, he is lying. Kelvin's talking about The Telegraph. The FT, the Financial Times, also had a really strong report on the nature of the friendship between Mandelson and Epstein in 2023. JP Morgan had an internal report which then went into the public domain because, of course, their guy, Jamie Dimon, was exposed to Epstein as well. Now, Keir Starmer might not be aware of those reports, but the people that work under him absolutely have to be. So somewhere along this chain of command, somebody has lied. Either Keir Starmer is lying now or somebody lied to Keir Starmer when this decision was made. I think that may be his chief of staff. So either Keir Starmer... So
you're on about Morgan McSweeney?
His chief of staff is called Morgan McSweeney, precisely. His wife, guess what, is an MP. So one of those two now needs to go. I'd also say this focus on the victims is important, but if Keir Starmer cares so much about victims of sexual assault, why on earth did he make Matthew Doyle, his former head of communications at 10 Downing Street, a Lord? Matthew Doyle in 2017 campaigned with a disgraced and expelled Labour councillor called Sean Morton. He even went with him to the election count. On the night of that count, he was standing as an independent, not a Labour councillor, because he'd been suspended for being charged with allegations pertaining to possession of images of children. He was ultimately found guilty for possessing images of young girls as young as 10.
Right. Was he sent to prison, this fella?
Sean Morton was, yeah.
Right.
Matthew Doyle was campaigning for that man after he'd been charged, and yet apparently this person is allowed to go to the House of Lords and become a legislator for life. I could give you 3 or 4 other examples just like that, but I don't think Keir Starmer gives a toss, if I'm allowed to say it before the watershed, about any of these things. It's always about blaming other people and saving his own skin.
And I know as well, many of you will be shouting if he cares that much about victims, and you'll be pointing to things like the grooming gang inquiry and all the rest of it. There's a lot of people gunning for Morgan McSweeney. A lot of people are saying that it's him that needs to go.
Yeah.
Do you think it is?
Well, one of them has to. I mean, like I said, somebody has lied somewhere. I think, personally, they're probably both lying. But at the very least, Morgan McSweeney would have to go for him to be, you know, his position to be tenable as PM. I think Kelvin's right. After the by-election, he's in big trouble. After the May local elections, he's in bigger trouble. This calculus of just every MP thinking, who is most likely to help me keep my job? Nobody is thinking it's Keir Starmer.
Ella says, Michelle, Keir Starmer is either lying that he didn't know the extent of Mandelson's involvement with Epstein, or he is so gullible that he isn't fit to govern. One of the things that I find staggering within politics, more generally anyway, is how this whole network of advisors and the power that they seem to yield and the basic lack of common sense that people within politics seem to have as individuals.
Well, they look at life through... I saw Alistair Campbell once say this. He said, you look at life through a straightforward way. In politics, that prism is almost in reverse. So anything that you read about politics, he said, I can tell you is untrue from within. And that is what people dislike. And what they won't like about all this is that they've always thought that they were a bunch of crooks. You know, by the way, whether they were Tory crooks or Labour crooks, it doesn't matter. Anybody in politics is simply out for themselves and is detached from ordinary people. And unfortunately, this particular case will be used as I'm sure there's professors of politics rubbing their hands all over English or British universities right now saying this is what really goes on. And if it does really go on, everybody is out for their power. I mean, he was exchanging power for money. He was saying, I have information that is going on within number 10, and you are going to pay my boyfriend $4,000 a month for eternity. Honestly, what a fantastic thing. So anybody who's ever had anything to do with Mandelson will say that he is engaging on one side and is totally out for himself on the other. And what has happened after 40 years of doing very well for himself? After all, Blair said, my job in life is to make the Labour Party love Peter Mandelson.
Says everything, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what does that say about Blair, who's gone on, by the way, to make himself a fortune himself? I'm not saying he's not entitled to make a fortune, but honestly, is that the way that everybody's thinking? Is every major politician thinking, how much money can I have? I can scarcely have ever met an MP in 30 or 40 years that when I've started talking to them, they've indicated one important aspect, that they're broke, i.e., can you take me on Can you take me on your board? Is there a column in it for me? Is there something in it for me? It's an extraordinary thing. I just take it as part of the conversation. But I imagine there are other people who are less thinking to themselves, that would be a good idea. That might help my business, actually. OK, I'll take you on.
It always blows my brain, actually, just how much money some MPs seem to have. So many of them end up absolutely rolling in it, even while they're still in power. And the salary, of course, is only £90,000 odd. Well, I say only. That is, of course, still... No, it's still a huge amount of money.
It's only 90 to you, Michelle.
No, but what I'm saying is they earn this 90 odd grand a year, and they seem to live this super high life. Blows my mind. Anyway, look, we are in a period of something called PERDA, which means that for legal reasons, because you just had some discussion around the Gorton and Denton by-election, I need to point out to you, of course, it's taken place in February the 26th. Of course, this was triggered after the resignation of Andrew Gwynn, and therefore I just need to draw your attention to the fact the Tories have announced Charlotte Cadden as their candidate. Hannah Spencer is the Green Party's candidate. Jackie Percy has been announced as a Lib Dem candidate. Matt Goodwin was announced as Reform UK candidate. Angeliki Stogie is the Labour Party's candidate. Advance UK have announced Nick Buckley. Sebastian Moore is the Social Democrat Party candidate. Rejoin EU Party. Joseph Miller, and there's Dan Clark from the Libertarian Party, and Sir Oinkalot from the Monster Raving Loony Party, and Hugo Wills as a candidate for the Communist League election campaign. There you go. Anyway, look, so much more that we need to discuss, ladies and gents. I want to talk about the grievance and inclusion stuff that Keir Starmer was trying to give a speech about today. I also want to talk to you about the House of Parliament eye-watering sums of money that we are going to be paying out for that. I'll see you in a sec.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dewbs, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Dewbs and Co with me, Michelle Dewberry, Kelvin McKenzie and Aaron Bastani. I'm asking you, just tell me, you know, there's been lots of conversations and investigation into the Houses of Parliament basically and refurbing it and what we should do about it. So I want you to tell me, they've come up now with their two options of what they could potentially do. Get in touch with me and tell me what you think, how much money you think they've recommended and how much time to repair the House of Parliament. I hope you're going to be sitting down when I tell you what the answer to that is. Anyway, look, very strange goings on. So you had the Prime Minister, he was in Hastings today in East Sussex. He was trying to announce this new policy. He was trying to do business as usual. His policy is called Pride in Place scheme. Very, very strange. I don't know if any of you saw this. So you had these kind of three people stood up trying to talk about pride in their community and all the rest of it. You had Keir Starmer on the lectern. All anyone cared about was Peter Mandelson. But notwithstanding that, there was a couple of interesting points that I just wanted to drill down to in some of the things that he had to say. Let's just take a listen to one of them.
Politics in this dangerous era, it's no longer about left and right, but a contest between renewal and grievance, between those who believe society is a zero-sum competition and those who believe we can unite for the higher purpose of our community, our country, our common good.
I thought this was really interesting. He was talking a lot about integration. He was talking about the social contracts being broken and all the rest of it, things that normally we'd be all over. What was your thoughts on some of that, Kelvin?
Well, apart from the fact that it was a complete waste of time.
It was very bizarre.
And he would have done better probably to say, I'll make this speech next Tuesday or something. Or perhaps in his case, probably in about 2 years' time when he's writing his book. The issue is, I think, look, if you come to some of our towns, they look absolutely terrible. In fact, Hastings is not in great shape. That is taxpayers' money going into local towns. I would not be I'm not hostile to that. If you look at the state of some of our towns, they would do a lot better if they just built car parks so that people, if they want to go down to the high street, they've got somewhere to park. Because if you take a place like mine, Weybridge, you would literally be driving around for hours on end before you find anywhere to park. And therefore, what's the point of going to your high street? So I think he doesn't understand that. The idea that you can build youth clubs and stuff like that in order that will cut out crime, I think is basically just plain a waste of money. However, if they could prove that doing up a town is going to be helpful to the town, then why don't we just do it in one town, see whether that works, see whether people get on better, see whether races integrate, see whether businesses in the high street do better, and then go and spend the billions that it will cost to do that all over the country. I think if we just go splosh and we literally put another 5 billion or 10 billion or 20 billion, which we don't possess, we have gone stark raving mad. We have better priorities.
Well, this new scheme is talking about expanding it to 40 new areas. This is in England. He wants to give local people a say as to how up to £20 million will be spent in their neighbourhoods. But what did you make to some of the things that he was trying to enhance today?
Well, it's first of all a complete waste of money. This approach of, just spend a whole bunch of money in one go on these particular places. We absolutely need to increase money that's given to local authorities because, of course, that's fallen by about 40% since 2010. That's not easy to do, but that's why places look a bit more grubby than they did 15, 16 years ago. If you talk to members of the Cabinet or if you speak to their advisors, and I've had this conversation with people that often speak to their advisors, they'll go to specialists, whether it's in law and order, money laundering, illegal working practices, and they'll say, what can we do? And the expert will say, well, you need to give more money to training standards. You need to have more police officers. They need to be of a higher calibre. It's quite substantial things. We can't do that because it's going to cost money. I would say, rather than giving 800 million in this fashion, Kelvin's right. Give 100 million to one place. See what they do. I think that would be a much more sensible approach than this kind of spray and pray sort of framework we've got here. And talking about training standards, walk down your local high street, over about 600 metres on the main high street where I live, you've got about 8 vape shops. You've got about twice as many barber shops. Yeah. You've got twice as many nail bars. Now, of course, many of those are legitimate businesses, but I don't think all of them are. And this, to me, is the real root cause of the problem. If you can't have law and order and law-abiding businesses on high streets, what hope do you have? Youth clubs are not the problem here. We have industrial-scale money laundering and illegal working going on in this country, in every town, in every city, every day of the week. And it's just being given a pass. So I don't think he's particularly serious. I don't think this policy is particularly serious. And then finally, on serving communities, Andy Burnham wanted to serve his community. He wanted to be an MP in a particular constituency. Yeah. That was blocked by the central party, even though the constituents of that area prefer him to the person they're now getting from the Labour Party, and Labour members preferred him. So this idea that Labour is a vehicle for people to be community champions is complete nonsense.
I know, but hold on, though, because some people are watching this might be in Manchester. They might be saying, well, yeah, but Andy Burnham, he decided to be the mayor, and he'd not even completed his term. So why should he then, halfway through his tenure, just go, oh, actually, guys, you know what, that's a better idea. You lot can all pick up the tab to find my replacement because now I sniff a bigger opportunity over there.
Well, first of all, you're allowed to be the mayor and an MP simultaneously. That's happened before. I don't think it's a particularly good idea.
You can't actually.
Labour have stopped.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I don't think you could have deferred, for instance, an election for the mayoralty by a year or whatever. I think that would have been sensible. On that point, I broadly agree, but at the end of the day, you cannot say we want people to be community champions, and at the same time, you have to agree with our little political faction in Westminster, which is the reality of the Labour Party.
And the other thing I feel is if you said to ordinary people, this is how we're going to spend 20 million. I mean, honestly, if you're worried about corruption in the high street, I think I'd be more worried about where my 20 million quid was going to go. It's a very big burden to spend money right, all kinds of things start to happen. And I'm not quite sure who you would get to spend that money. Would it be your local council who will spend it? Or would you bring in some other people who say, we want some fresh ideas, we don't want these councillors spending that money, because look at the way they've spent the money so far. In my town, they have built a library community hub. Honestly, if you want a book, the best thing to do is go to there's a charity shop up the road that has the most fantastic books, literally for 50p and a quid. Why did we have to spend 3 million quid or something on building this super library hub? Honestly, I sometimes wonder whether our councillors have any idea of what money looks like.
Well, the other part of the speech today that I found really interesting, I don't know if any of you stayed the course to actually watch it because it was just so bizarre, the whole setup, because it was dominated by Mandelson, as we've already said. But he was basically going on about integration, the common good, about how immigration is really good for society. And he was talking about rights versus responsibilities and so on and so forth. He finally got around to mentioning Islamist extremism, which I thought was quite interesting. But then he was also going on about people on the right who he says hates Muslims. And I just found the whole thing quite an interesting perspective, because the bit that really kind of, I feel, that Keir Starmer and so many politicians are missing, they keep going on about, oh, you've all got to come together, you've all got to integrate, you've all got to have these shared British values and all the rest of it. But then I just think, but you're deliberately changing people's communities at a rate of knots, and the communities are not even communities that the people within them even recognise anymore. But that's never acknowledged by the politicians.
Well, what they refuse to acknowledge is that the phone and social media means that we now all pursue a very narrow political agenda in a way that when I was a kid, that was not true, right? So if you have a view, it can be serviced now, whereas previously you were part of a very broad party. For instance, Labour are now going through what the Conservatives have gone through with reform. So you've got the Greens. Actually, I'm saying you have got the Greens. You may well be a Green yourself.
I'm not a member, but I'm on the left, so it's my neck of the woods.
But you are now served. You are now served. When you go and vote, you have the opportunity now, actually, to do Labour a lot of damage, right? And people I know want to do the Tories a lot of damage. They will vote reform. Now, what politicians are trying to say, and what Starmer's trying to say, we are a homogeneous unit, and we can all be friendly and get on together. That day has gone.
You will be greener than a bit of grass come the next election, I imagine.
Depends. You know, it's interesting because as a board, I want to get, basically, to repeat what Kelvin just said there, I want to sort of give, you know, Labour a proverbial pop on the nose, and I'll probably give my vote to the Greens. But on big issues, nuclear energy, high-speed rail, I think the Greens have been terrifyingly wrong. And I think there's a big difference between voting for a party because you want them to have 20, 30, 40 MPs and thinking that guy could be PM. And I think right now that's the advantage of the Greens. Many people will vote Green because they'll say, I want the debate to be a little bit more in this direction. I quite like this sort of broad set of views. Do I think this guy would make a great Prime Minister, or do I think every single policy the Greens have is fantastic? No. It's different for Reform because they're actually a plausible government.
Well, interesting stuff, ladies and gents. What do you think to it all? Don't forget, tell me the amount of money that you think that you're going to be on the hook for when it comes to refurbing the House of Parliament. Ladies and gents, you will not believe this. Trust me on that. We've got that coming up and more. I'll see you in a sec.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
There's more very heavy rain to come across parts of Spain and Portugal and North Morocco as we head into the weekend. Strong winds continue to be an issue here as well. A bit breezy in the Canaries, but plenty of sunshine here. Things turning a bit brighter in Catalonia, but there's that next zone of wet weather coming into Spain and Portugal. Showery for Italy and some heavy showers for Croatia and the mainland of Greece as well. Generally dry in Cyprus with some hazy sunshine here. The Canaries remain the place to be for dry, sunny weather this weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. This is your latest Met Office weather update for GB News. Plenty more wet weather to come as we go through the rest of today and into tomorrow. Also, some significant hill snow building up over some northern parts. At the moment, we have low pressure to the southwest of us, and it's this that's bringing some fairly strong winds coming in from the east, particularly across northern areas. And we have colder air here as well, which is why we're readily seeing some snow building up over the hills and mountains of northern England and parts of Scotland. Could cause some disruption with several centimetres lying in some places. Otherwise, it is looking cloudy and wet for many of us. With that, then, temperatures not dropping a huge amount towards the south, but across northern areas, a few degrees lower than last night. Could be a bit of frost around in some sheltered places away from those brisk winds coming in from the east, and where we get any clear skies. Through tomorrow morning, the brightest weather will be across western parts of Scotland. Cloudier, wetter and wintry further east. Meanwhile, it's a very wet start across much of Northern Ireland. The rain continuing to build up through the day, so we could see some problems. 60 to 80 millimetres perhaps of rain building up across some of the higher ground. Also a cloudy wet start across much of England and Wales, and again in the southwest and across parts of Wales. We could see some impacts as a result of the heavy rain that we've seen through today and will continue into tomorrow. The rain actually across some parts of the southwest will become a bit more showery, so breaking up a little bit, some drier, perhaps even brighter spells, but with that, the potential for a few rumbles of thunder. Temperatures in the south look similar to today, maybe a degree higher, 12, maybe 13 Celsius possible, but further north, still a cold feel, especially with that brisk easterly wind. Then into Saturday, some brighter weather across some parts of northern England, eastern England as well at times, but otherwise again a lot of cloud and a lot of rain. The rain perhaps not as heavy as what we're seeing at the moment, but nonetheless it could cause some problems just because how wet the ground is. More cloudy, often wet weather to come as we go through the back end of the weekend and into next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 10 million followers across social media. We are truly honoured to have your trust, one follower at a time.
Good evening, this is the latest AI travel news from GBnews.com. On the A725 southbound at Wraith interchange, a broken down vehicle is restricting traffic. The M4 westbound is slow between junction 24 at Coldra and junction 26 at Malpas because of congestion. In Cambridgeshire, the A14 westbound between junction 24B and junction 23 has one lane closed after a crash, with delays of around 30 minutes. In Worcestershire, the M5 northbound entry slip at junction 5 is shut in both directions following an accident. And on the trains, Cross Country and Great Western Railway have disruption on some routes. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Dewbs and Co with me, Michelle Dewberry, Aaron Bastani and Kelvin McKenzie keeping you company until 7. Marie says, Michelle, it's all well and good talking about integration, but what about the controlled dismantling of our society driven by corrupt councils and government? $1 million question, I think. Sandra says, Michelle, we have to stop pedestrianising town centres. It kills trade. Traffic, she says, is needed to rejuvenate them. Yep. Don't they, I mean, Alex is saying, don't they realise it was the very councils that destroyed the town centres in the first place? Michelle, I can hear you. Don't worry about it. But look, I want to talk to you about illegal working. I mean, you can guess the industries that have been targeted in this. But now what they're saying is more than half of the 9,008 illegal working arrests made last year were in the following industries. Who'd have thought it? Beauty and distribution centre. Beauty and distribution centres. That's a posh way of saying nail bars and all these fellas on these very expensive, I don't know where they get these bikes from, you know, these delivery guys. Where did they get these very expensive high-powered electric bikes from? But anyway, I digress.
You go around at any, I mean, you go around any reasonable-sized town, OK, central London as well. Honestly, the takeaway traffic jams are enormous. Damn dangerous, actually. They don't honestly give a damn at all. Even around my way, it's the same story. Look, there is something odd going on in the high street. It may be totally legitimate. Now, obviously, the amount of hair I've got, I'm not a great aficionado of barbers, right? They take too little time and charge too much money. But the truth is, how is it all these barber places have grown up? The other thing in the high street is the beauty shops. Because you can't get it online, every woman in the area must be having some kind of beauty treatment. Do you? Isn't that true?
Look, hang on. He's looking at me really perplexed and trying to work out. I can see him. He's like scanning me up and down, trying to work out, does this woman have any beauty treatments or
if
not?
you go to a high street, there's only a couple of things you will get there: barber shops, nail bars, and some kind of beauty. Some kind of beauty. How come there's all this money in this game?
I went to a nail shop, actually, as it happens, a few months ago, and it actually really made me sad because they had the door open to, like, the back of the shop thing, whatever, and they had mattresses, you know, on the back of the
What,
room.
for sleeping, you mean?
Well, I mean, I don't want to really think about what there was. I don't know. They just had. I didn't start, inquisiting what was going on with these mattresses.
What nationality were the nail bar people?
I think they were like Vietnamese or something like that, but they had mattresses in the back room, and there were children there as well. That actually made me feel quite sad. You're going to ask next, did I do anything about that or anything? I didn't, actually. That's terrible, isn't it?
Well, you've touched upon a really important issue here, which is we're talking about people who are illegally working or are undocumented while in work. But the businesses that are primarily responsible for this also overlap with money laundering, criminality. Now, I'm not suggesting nail bars are a centre of, criminality, but there was a raid quite recently, late last year, by West Midlands Police. They went across dozens of barbershops, vape shops and whatnot, and they found the strangest things. In one place, they found dozens of luxury watches. Luxury watches are a great way to launder money and take money in from criminal proceeds and then get it into the legit and legal part of the economy. So this is happening at huge scale. I would also say, by the way, things like crypto, NFTs, art.
Yeah.
There is so much money laundering. There has never been more money laundering. One estimate in terms of how big money laundering is globally is $5 trillion US. So about 5%, the global economy is about $100 trillion US. 5% of the global economy is tied up in money laundering. I look at the high street, I think it's probably more than that. But again, our political class don't seem to take it that seriously. It's just a matter of fact.
But they don't take drugs seriously, do they? They don't take drugs seriously. My local station, if you want to develop a cannabis habit, just stand outside there after some of the local colleges have turned out. I mean, it is an incredible thing. But we've decided that cannabis, is just one of those things. We'll just let that go. Nobody's going to get nicked for it. And we literally can't capture enough drug peddlers to stop the middle classes taking cocaine. So this is we're the ones that are guilty. Do we want to clamp down on drugs or don't we? And the answer appears to be, do you know what? We can't be bothered.
Well, there you go. I can tell you someone that will be bothered and someone that will be very happy. It's all your tradesmen in and around Westminster, because I was asking you to get your thoughts in about, there's a report out now that's basically come up with two different suggestions about how much it will cost and how long it will take to restore Parliament. Jeff, Michelle, my guess is 2.2 billion. John, 800 million to 1.5 billion. And Paul says it will take 5 years. Well, all three of you couldn't be further wrong if you tried. I shall tell you after the break what the options are and how much they will cost. Ladies and gents, make sure you're sitting down. I'll also talk to you as well about Alton Towers. The theme park, they finally decided to do something that this government doesn't have the balls to do. They've decided to clamp down on ADHD and anxiety. No more using the disability fast track for you guys. See you in a minute. I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Dewbs & Co with you until 7.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GBNews, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GBNews family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Hello everybody, how much money do you think it's going to cost you to refurb the House of Parliament? Peter, 1.2 billion, and Sue says surely it can't take any more than 10 years to do. Jack, you're sneaky, because I know you've read the story, because you were absolutely bang on. We've got two options, ladies and gents.
Don't believe him.
Yeah, you've got two options, get this. The option number one, which is basically like, you know, you fully move out and all the rest of it, they propose 19 to 24 years at a cost of 11 to 15 billion pounds. Phase two, this is the option number two, you could do phased work over 38 to 61 years. The Lords would move out to a conference centre and MPs use their chamber for 2 years. 19 to 39 billion pounds. I just think, I mean, I'm not being rude, but these people are so disconnected from the real world. Or am I missing something, Kelvin?
Well, no, I mean, the answer is we should just do it up as best we can, not spend an absolute fortune, move all the MPs out. What matters about democracy is not where it happens, but the fact that it's happening at all. So give them a prefab somewhere.
A prefab? My classroom used to be a prefab when I was at primary school, and it was riddled in asbestos as well. I remember that. Anyway, go on.
Well, I find it remarkable that Notre Dame was burnt to a cinder, and they managed to rebuild it for, I think, about 800 million euros. Yep. Did it even take 40 years, as one of the options is here, or 61 years is the latter option? Sorry if I've taken your story there, but did it take that long to build the thing? Wembley Stadium, by the way, which of course was built many years ago, cost £500 million. How on earth do they arrive at these numbers?
I just think it's absolutely clamor. And when you do go, by the way, to a variety of different countries and you see, to Aaron's point, what they are knocking up, the speed of which they are knocking these things up, it's eye-watering. And again, I always say this, but we live in a clown world in this country. I'm absolutely convinced of it. Look at this. This next story really caught my eye, ladies and gents. You know, we've got all this conversation about a spreading out welfare state. Absolutely everything now, it feels like, anyway, seems to qualify for some benefit or another. Well, Alton Towers, the theme park, they are boldly going where this government dare not, because they've got these disability, like fast-track lanes where you essentially don't have to stand in a queue. They were originally designed, of course, empathetically for people that physically cannot stand in long queues. You know what happened? That's been branched out and expanded. People with ADHD and anxiety have been using these lanes. Merlin Entertainments have now basically said people with physical disabilities, they're now not getting the benefit of these things, so they've decided they're not going to have it anymore. Yep. They will offer kind of like safe spaces, sensory rooms and all the rest of it for people that are neurodiverged, but not these disability lanes. Some people are up in arms about it.
Yes, well, the trouble now is that everybody, no matter how old they are or how young they are, has now is either autistic, ADHD or anxiety. And what I've noticed that people keep on saying, they'd even say to me, "Oh, you've clearly got ADHD," or did you know, a member of your family, they were clearly autistic. Everybody is self-diagnosing, and with a good dollop of Dr. Google, everybody is going to have something wrong with them now. And the question is for yourself is, what would you like to have wrong with you, right? And I presume the reason why our benefit payments are going through the roof is that everybody is choosing the one where you get the maximum payout from the government.
Aaron Bastani?
Well, it doesn't say autism here, so maybe non-verbal autism, they can still be in these...
No, it's ADHD and anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really important point. What I'd say is, Alton Towers, if you're watching or listening, get ready for the Supreme Court judgment in about 4 or 5 years when somebody comes after you for discrimination. And by the way, I suspect you'll lose. That is how we seem to do business in this country now. Somebody makes a choice about whether or not people should get access to something, rightly or wrongly, and then they're subsequently declared bankrupt, often about half a decade later. So, be careful, Alton Towers.
I must say, in my wider family, who are going off to Disneyland Paris, and they have some challenges. Both of them have both got challenges. Disneyland Paris have been absolutely fantastic on laying out help, including discounts for having the challenges. And so I give a thumbs up to Alton Towers, but I'd just like to say well done to Disneyland Paris.
The challenge with some of this stuff is that there really are a lot of people in society that really do struggle. You mentioned autism and stuff like that. I've seen families, they really, really, really struggle with those children, and what they go through as a family, I wish it on no family. Maybe some of you are watching this right now, and my heart breaks for the whole family when you see the impact on the children, you see the impact on the families. There's no respite from it, and it's awful. And then I feel so sad for those families, because what happens is all of these people are constantly popping up, making out they've got this, making out they've got that, and then they all get bundled together. So then people start going on about, autism, it's this, and this is that, and this is that. So the people that genuinely suffer, they get tarred with this brush. And I find it devastating. I read this open letter from this man, and I won't name him because he's got quite a big pile on. But he's written to his MP saying that he's got ADHD and therefore is disabled. And the decision from Alton Towers, it's exclusion, clearly and plainly. He's talking about all this and that and the other. So I can already see what you're saying about people, about people are going to start claiming this is exclusion and discrimination and all the rest of it. But you've got to have a situation where people that are genuinely struggling have got access to help make their lives easier. And I'm not dismissing, and I know some of you will be getting in touch now and going, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I do know what I'm talking about, actually. I've been told by multiple professionals, I'm not self-diagnosed, I've been told by multiple professionals that I've got ADHD.
But all journalists have ADHD.
But yeah, but what I'm saying is...
Because they are able to, they flip from one subject to another with ease, and that is helpful.
Yeah, but there's, that might be helpful, but there's also a lot of things that cause struggles that go with that, and I'm not trying to get woe is me, but I can tell you now, I sometimes really struggle.
Do you?
I do, actually.
Okay.
Struggle to, with organisation, planning, absorbing information, find stuff quite overwhelming and all the rest of it. I won't bore you with it, but I can tell you it's not very pleasant sometimes, I'll say that. But anyway, Merlin Entertainment, the owner of Alton Towers, say our commitment to supporting neurodiverse guests and those with mental health needs remain. They are listening to this feedback and they're committed to looking at their approach and keeping it in review. There you go. But for now, gents, that's all I've got time for. Unfortunately, I'm not heading to a theme park, but I do wish you a great night. Night.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.